What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. In today's video, we're going to be going over a couple events here that Playerm just announced, and it's going to be over the CVC period here, which is starting in 21 hours. If you guys didn't know, I will be streaming during the start of the CVC, so make sure you guys drop on by if you guys are around YouTube. With that all being said, let's get the events on the screen right now. So we have 2 days worth of events here. We got 2 different progressive events that are happening, as you can see with this little screenshot here. On the first day, let's go over them by day. We got Raphael offered in a progressive event. It's going to be 15x progressive. And then we have Uzo of the Jade. We have Wallmaster. We have Thor. We have Ash Arrow, Acrizia, Ayasu, and Tunisia. Now, there's some decent champions here, but honestly, not really any of these champions are champions that you should really chase super hard. Like, we have Raphael here. He is one of the turtles, but honestly, Raphael is going to be offered in a guarantee event, most likely sometime in October. He's a decent damage dealer, but I would say he's probably one of the worst turtles. For him to do actual like significant damage, he needs this berserk buff on him, and for him to place it, it's not actually that easy. I play tested him a little bit. He does hit pretty hard with the berserk buff up, but to get it up consistently, it's a little bit difficult. Also, it's kind of like counter synergistic with Stone Skin, so putting him in Stone Skin actually blocks this, so it's a little bit of a not a great setup for him. Unfortunately, this should have been protected, or it can bypass Stone Skin somehow. That would have made it a lot more easier to build him out. But that's Raphael, kind of in a nutshell. We have Uzo of the Jade. Uzo is another damage dealer here from the Dwarf faction. Spirit Affinity hits pretty hard with extra turn mechanics here. He does bypass a bunch of this stuff, shield, block damage, Stone Skin as well. And 100% of the target's defense if he's going with the instant turn or extra turn. But yeah, he's a strict damage dealer. But there's so many damage dealers right now, especially for the dwarves. It's kind of crazy. We have Wallmaster here also being offered. Wallmaster is a super solid champion. He brings AoE block buffs, which is very good, decreased attack. And then, of course, max HP hits here. Very good for just killing general PvE bosses. Very good. You can solo Spider, for example, as well. Good for Hydra, self buffs. And then he has a passive that boosts his survivability. After that, we have Thor. Thor is available. He was a fusion last year. He's probably one of the best fusions last year for sure. Maybe one of the best fusions of all time. Great AoE damage dealer. He's got an A1 multi-hit. It's good damage from his A1. Got good damage on this AoE here. Also ignores block damage unkillable, which is really nice. And then he has a decreased speed attack here and a stun passive attack here. So this guy can pump out a ton of damage, especially in places where there's multiple enemies, like Hydra, for example. Just a absolute damage powerhouse, and he's going to be up for grabs. Lastly, for the non-voids here, we do have Ash Arrow. Ash Arrow, he hits okay. He is a damage dealer, and he has a passive here that is kind of okay, I guess. He gets a damage boost if his turn meter gets decreased, and he has the opportunity to place block debuffs on himself and grant an extra turn, which is probably the biggest draw for him, but it's on a 5-turn cooldown, so it's kind of crazy. I guess the idea is if you reduce his turn meter, you're going to give him a turn, and then he's gonna smack you up real good. I don't think so. I don't think he hits hard enough, and the fact that he doesn't ignore Stone Skin is a pretty big negative as well. So that's going to hold him back a little bit, but he's up for grabs here for the non-voids. For the void champions, we just had a 2x void, so I don't know who's pulling voids right now, but we have Acrizia here, max HP hitter, still super good in terms of overall max HP damage applied over time. She's not as good as Newt, because Newt hits 3 times for max damage. She only hits twice, but all her hits are max damage. So over time, Acrizia is going to do more damage than Newt, for example, in places like Hydra. But yeah, she is also Void Affinity, which is a big plus. We also have Ayasu here from the Shadowkins. I do have Ayasu, and he is a damage powerhouse. You can definitely use him in arena as well. He does bring ignore, Stone Skin, shield, and strengthen, and he has a block revive. His A1 gives an extra turn when he kills somebody, and his A1 hits really hard. And his passive here that basically just spreads out a bunch of damage. He's really good against Hydra too. This passive just deals tons and tons of damage. But yeah, and he pairs up well with Mikage, obviously for Hydra. He's good, but he's a damage dealer that's super squishy. So that's a little bit of a pain, but that's pretty standard with most damage dealers. Even if you put him in Stone Skin, for example, with his low base stats, he's probably just going to drop dead to like a really strong Marius, stripping off Stone Skin and then just hitting him with like 1 AoE, but still a good damage dealer. He's Void Affinity as well. Lastly, for the Void champions here, we have from the Skinwalkers, we have Tunisia, the AoE Firefox. All things considered, she is a good champion, but her biggest draw right now is just empowering Marius. She brings the AoE HP burn. She also has a stun here or decrease speed. And then here she has a turn meter drop with a pretty big hit. A1 decreased defense as well. Not a bad champion, but she's not going to be bringing crazy amounts of damage. But fun fact is that her HP burn does bypass the poison cloud for Hydra. If you want her for that role, she can definitely do it. So that's going to be day 1. So let's move on to day 2 here. So same kind of setup. We got the 15x progressive event. The main draw champion here will be April. So we got April offered in a progressive event. Now April, sorry, she's Sacred Aura. So now April here. I actually haven't done much testing for April. I think her kit is very niche. It's very complex and niche, but it is good against basically mythical champions. She has a 100% chance of stealing your turn meter, and then she can place this new debuff called Nullify. Nullify here is debuff that kind of shuts you out from doing ally attacks, extra turns, having your skills activated, and then a bunch of other random stuff here like cooldown decrease, shield value increase, destroy HP restored. It's very kind of random, but I think the biggest thing is having your skills activated is a pretty big negative. So any kind of champion that have activated skills, this Nullify actually shuts them down. Now Seal is actually a pretty good debuff as well. We don't see that very often as well. It's only from, I think, Carnage only. Seal. So there's 2 versions of it. She lands the smaller one. So the Seal effects blocks effects from gear sets and masteries. So it's a pretty interesting debuff there. And her A3 brings an increased accuracy and a turn meter drop. Her passive is actually kind of interesting. Her active effect here is whenever enemies remove, transfer, decrease the duration of any debuff to 0. So if debuffs expire, decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 25%. And it's on a 3-turn cooldown down to 2 turns. But I think it's a pretty cool turn meter drop, and this is going to occur pretty frequently. So consistently having a 25% turn meter pushed back on you is actually pretty crazy. So maybe April might be actually okay in some kind of content actually with just this passive. Not to mention that her passive effect is actually pretty interesting too, because it decreases the enemy's turn meter by 10% whenever an enemy skill is being activated, teams of ally attack, blah, 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 right? All this stuff. It's 10% and it's a passive effect. So this could potentially happen all the time. And that could be, like I said, really crippling in some areas of content. But I'm not too sure. I can't really place her right now to find a spot for her, but I wouldn't be surprised if this passive makes her kind of OP in some areas. But anyways, she's going to be up for grabs. I think, she will be probably offered in some kind of guaranteed event as well during October. So it might not be the best time to chase her at this time, but she's probably going to be pretty sought after if you don't have her. After that, we do have Prince Kaimar being offered as well. Prince Kaimar, one of the OG greats. Big draw here is the Seal Magic, full reset on your whole team. AoE sleep and strip, which is nice, big aura in the arena battles. And yeah, he's still one of the GOATs. Doesn't need books for those seer teams. Doesn't need to be leveled up. Just a great champion overall. Still used quite a bit. After that, we have the Undead Horde. We have Fabian here. Fabian, the 6th anniversary fusion that we had this year. Incredible champion. I've used him quite a lot. Speed in all battles. He's got the AoE decreased duration of all buffs, and then decrease cooldown increased cooldown, on all enemy skills. So it's pretty big ability here on a 4-turn cooldown. This is super annoying as well. His A2, which casts the petrification and a true fear on everybody as well. Turn meter still on the A1. His passive means that he cannot be controlled, and whenever you get revived, you get true feared. Super annoying champion here, 109 base speed. It's very, very solid. He's going to be up for grabs here as well. And then after that, we do have another super annoying champion, Osgrin the Defiler. So Osgrin the Defiler here, he's basically a force. Sorry, he is a dwarf. I was thinking of Armans, but Osgrin here, he's basically a force affinity Armans, very similar. He's got an A1 ability similar to Armans with the cooldown increase. And then he has the AoE strip on a 3-turn cooldown with the turn meter drop. and a stun. Now, there's some conditions for all this to happen, but it's basically very similar to Arman's AoE stun and turn meter steal. Arman's is probably a little bit better because it's just consistent. You know exactly what you're going to get out of it. And then Osgren does bring this cool AoE, team wide ally attack, which brings increased attack and shatter, which is nice. A little bit more offensive minded there. His passive also gives your team a damage boost for enemies under stun. And then you have this interesting active effect where whenever your teammate gets killed, he actually activates the AoE turn meters decrease and the stun ability and the strip ability. So actually pretty interesting. Speed in arena as well, similar, basically identical to Arman's as well. 109 base speed, and you're basically just going to use this guy as a really fast support champion with high accuracy so that he can do this stun and turn meter stuff, and then you can bring in your ally attacks and all that. It's a little bit interesting. Is he better than Arman's? I think Arman's with the sheep maybe a little bit scarier than his ally attack, but the ally attack does open up, you know, a couple different team combinations for him that, you know, would be different than if you were using Arman's. But yeah, if we're comparing him to Arman's, he's definitely a very good champion. After that, we have from the Night Revs, we have Theodore the Savant. So Theodore here, he's still a good champion, can solo a bunch of areas in the game. You know, he bring AoE decreased speed. That's always going to be useful for like areas like Hydra. Poison here, poison sensitivity, increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown. This is just a great ability overall. And then he has the activator here on the A3. Accuracy in all battles. Good champ. Can be used in Spider, Ice Golem, you know, Hard Dragon, up to, you know, you can probably do Hard 10 probably if you have enough stats, +4 with 6-star blessing maybe. But yeah, still a good champ. You wouldn't be too unhappy to get him unless you're like super end game. So he rounds out the non-voids for day 2. And now we're going to be talking about the void champions here. There's some good ones here on day 2. Let's see here. I guess she is the Night Revs here. We got the Queen of Hearts. Now the Queen of Hearts, a very good champion, was offered during the, you know, Alice campaign. Her big thing is her passive. For every 10 buffs the enemy receives, grant this champion an extra turn. Now she is a kind of a counter here against Sifi. So when Sifi buffs up, she gets an instant turn. So it doesn't matter how fast she is. You can come in, strip all your stuff, place Death Brand, and then place Fear on everybody, which is super annoying on a 4-turn cooldown. So that's kind of the way you do it. If somebody buffs up, you can come back, you get instant turn, and then you use this ability to strip all the buffs off, place your Fear, Death Brand, and then you go in with your ally attack, kill off the Death Brand character, and then you block revive. So Death Brand basically means that they cannot revive back. And yeah, and she has one of the craziest AoE, craziest A1s in probably the whole game. It's just an A1. It's a 100% chance to land decreased defense, and she gets a turn meter fill on an A1. It's just crazy. It's just crazy, right? Some people have this on a 3-turn cooldown. And it's not even as good as this, and it requires books to land debuff chance. So, and she's Void Affinity too. And yeah, she's a great champion. Definitely somebody that you can use in lots of areas. After the Queen of Hearts here, we have from the Undead Hordes, we have Sifi. So Sifi, and we just mentioned Sifi actually. She gets taken advantage of by her Whirlwind Romance. She places a bunch of buffs and stuff. But this can be kind of countered with like Supersonic Set or like Queen of Hearts. That all kind of makes sense against Sifi. But she's still super powerful just because her A1 is so strong. It does sleep, 100% of the time. Obviously, with something like the wand around, this isn't as good anymore. Because the sleep can be redirected back to her. Single target revive here on a 4-turn cooldown. It's basically tailor-made for Rotos, 55% HP. Reviving Rotos gives them, passive activations because it's over 50%. And then, of course, her passive here, which passively heals everybody and has a chance to remove Fear, True Fear, and Freeze. Often gets overlooked. Good base stats, one of the fastest speeds in the game, 114. 115 is the fastest speed in the game, but she has really strong base stats here. And of course, she is the partner to Rotos, which makes her that much more powerful. And last but not least, for the Void champions, we have from the Ogren tribes, not the new Void Ogren, but we have Diamant Copper Coin. Super fast champion, 112 base speed. You got speed in all battles. You got an A1 healed your whole team. He's got an A2 AoE, increase the duration of all ally buffs. This is really nice for Titus teams. Turn meter fill, very nice ability for Titus teams. And then you have a 3-turn cooldown, intercept, increase resistance, and strengthen, so more buffs for the tightest team, which is very, very good. And then his passive here has a chance to convert debuffs into buffs. Now, it's not a 100% chance of this happening, which kind of sucks. They're not guaranteed to get much value from this passive too often, but even just with his kit, just having the Terminator boost buff duration increase, and then a bunch of buffs on his A3, it does make him kind of viable, yeah, for just some tightest team shenanigans. And that's probably going to be his main role, also speed in all battles, which is pretty good. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the progressive events for this CVC. Now, with all progressive events, I highly recommend that you do not, go too crazy into it. And especially if you're trying to save resources, I would be extra careful about spending resources for progressive events. Keep in mind that when you pull during progressive events, the odds of you pulling a non-void legendary of your choice is roughly about 7%. And for voids, if you're pulling void shards and you're trying to get a certain void champion, it's probably going to be closer to about 18%. So the percentages aren't great, and you're gambling with non-boosted legendary rates, so you're not going to get very good rates trying to get the legendary. And then when you get the legendary, you're not going to get very good rates getting the legendary that you want. So keep that all in mind when you guys are gambling it up for these type of progressive events. With that all being said, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Have a great CVC. Like I said, I will be streaming somewhere around the start of CVC. So hopefully I'll see you guys then. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.